Welcome to Museful Creations, where imagination comes to life. Hey friends, welcome back to Museful Creations. Today's video is super close to my heart. We're diving into something I've never done before, and it all started with a question. This little journal sparked more than creativity. It truly helped me slow down, focus, and reflect. So let's talk about what makes this project so unique. I built the cover using thick presentation paper, gaffer's tape, no fabric, but I did use some cheesecloth, and I used eyelets to reinforce the spine with elastic bands. I also chose the signature so that I can pull out the pages and be able to reflect my thoughts. And the best part, there's a mini LED lens inside, and yes, it lights up. Let's get to it. Finding time to journal has been something I've intentionally made space for this year. It's not always easy, but creating this tactile journal gave me room to slow down just a bit and reflect. My word of the year is focus, and building this reminds me why it matters. And you'll see that my word is woven throughout, and I hope it speaks to you too. You're going to need the front and the back cover, and I did emboss with clear embossing powder. It's also a third add-on kit that I'm calling it Reflections in a Jar. And what you want to do is cut at least 2 more additional pieces for the front cover, and also a second piece for the back cover. I basically just went with the flow and didn't pre-plan this, and organically just started to build with the supplies I have in stock. I'm also showing you here that I used a circle punch that is 1.25 inches, and if you either have a die cut or a circle punch, it'll come in handy. You're going to need to use a 2-inch circle punch to cut the third cover of your front cover, if you will. And you'll see why it's super important that you do that. And it's basically exposing the LED light so that you're then able to replace it once it runs out of life. Next, you're going to cut the vintage lens. You're going to cut 2 with your 1.25 inch circle die cut. Now we're going to work on the vintage lens, and I'm showing you that I'm using a 1 5/8 inch circle die cut to cut 3 circles out of vellum and 1 out of clear acetate. And I do cut 2 vintage lenses. Now I'm using really tiny letters to cut out my word of the year, which is focus, and I'm using my cutting mat, the grid, to help me keep the word focus in a straight line. Then you're going to use your acetate on your first vintage lens, then the word focus on top of vellum, and then you're going to layer it with the 2 additional vellum circles, and then you'll apply your second lens. Now I'm showing you that I use medical tape to secure the lens with my word of the year. And then it's totally up to you if you want to use a different type of tape, but that was helpful for me. Now I took my LED light and I decided I want one on the top, one on the left, and one light on the right. And then I used medical tape to secure it. Then you want to use 3D dots all over your third cover. After you've punched that 2-inch circle on the third cover, then you want to peel the protective backing tape onto the second cover so that you can then use your third cover on top, and that way you'll be able to replace that battery when needed. Now you wonder, how am I going to cover that battery and be able to replace it? So what you'll need is two Velcro dots, and I'm showing you what I used. You'll want to put a dot on the right and on the left, and you want to keep it close to the edge, and you'll need to trim it just a tad on both sides. Then you'll cut two circles. Totally up to you. I used 2.5 inch and a 2 inch circle, and then I affixed a butterfly and also added two more of the Velcro dots so that I'm able to remove it and replace that battery when needed. Now we're going to work on the spine, and you'll need your glue of choice, a piece of thin chipboard that's 1 1/4 of an inch by 4 5/8 of an inch. You'll need glue to adhere the hinge to the left and the right part of the inner covers of your journal. Then you'll need a second piece of gaffer's tape to cover the top, and then you'll want to draw a pencil line at 3 1/8 inch and then at 7 1/8 inch to help you align the signatures. This isn't a big journal, but it's big enough to hold your thoughts, prayers, and truth. If you've struggled to journal lately, maybe this is your sign to try it again. The reflection in a jar kit also includes a printable sheet of journaling prompts that will challenge you, comfort you, and remind you to let go. Leave me a voicemail message at speakpipe.com/musefulcreations, and I hope this inspires you. Take care.